Serene Outdoor Living 2025, elegant garden ideas with natural touches. The vision of a refined, elegant garden in 2025 begins with an understanding that true sophistication grows from the foundation upward. That foundation is built not on excess or ornamentation, but on the quiet authority of well-chosen, honest materials. When we design a space meant to be lived in, touched and felt over time, we must first ask ourselves, what does the hand meet? What does the eye rest upon? What does the soul remember? Untreated or lightly finished wood stands at the heart of this approach. It offers more than structural integrity. It brings a tactile warmth that cannot be replicated by synthetic surfaces. You can run your hand along the grain and feel the life that once pulsed within the tree. In sunlight, its tones shift subtly from honey to amber. In shade, it deepens into a rich, calm brown. Natural stone, with its cool permanence, adds a grounding weight to the design. Each slab carries millennia of geological history, patterns of mineral veins like nature's own brushstrokes. Bamboo rises vertically, light yet strong, its rhythm elegant in its repetition. And beneath our steps, smooth river pebbles, shaped by the patient work of water over countless years, provide a texture that is both grounding and meditative. These materials do not simply exist in the garden, they breathe life into it. They invite contact, they reward close inspection, they age gracefully. In every plank of decking made from sustainably sourced timber, there is an ethical choice, one that aligns the aesthetic beauty of the space with environmental responsibility. Imagine walking barefoot on that timber after a summer rain, feeling the cool surface underfoot, the air scented faintly with wood and earth. Stone pathways become more than routes from one corner to another. They are journeys in miniature, interwoven with patches of moss, their edges softened by greenery. They encourage a slower pace. Moss, tender and resilient, thrives in the quiet shade, lending a velvety softness to the hard surface of stone. These contrasts, hard and soft, rough and smooth, are essential in building a garden that engages the senses fully. Bamboo fencing offers another layer of thoughtfulness. It is not merely a boundary, not a wall that separates, but a screen that filters. Light passes through in slivers, shifting with the wind, creating patterns on the ground that are never the same twice. It breathes with the space, and in doing so, it connects rather than divides. Sustainability is not an optional feature, it is the spine of the design. Every recycled element, every eco-friendly finish is a deliberate choice. To work with the earth rather than against it is to ensure that the beauty we create will not come at the planet's expense. A garden designed this way feels inherently honest. It does not pretend to be what it is not. It offers luxury without exploitation, elegance without harm. From the threshold of the home, the garden should feel like a natural continuation of the living space. The transition is made seamless by large sliding glass doors or expansive panoramic glass walls. They open the home to the garden not just visually, but experientially, flooding the interior with natural light, erasing the barrier between inside and out. One steps from a room of polished wood floors into a space where the air carries the scent of leaves and blossoms. An outdoor lounge, positioned with care beneath a vine-covered pergola, becomes the heart of this transition. Weather-resistant sofas, their cushions in muted tones, invite hours of conversation or quiet reading. A low wooden coffee table anchors the arrangement, its surface weathered slightly by the elements. Telling the story of shared meals, teacups set down lazily on a summer afternoon, sketchbooks opened in idle moments. Colour in 2025 follows the lead of the natural world. The palette leans toward neutrality, but never toward dullness. Soft beige, warm ivory, muted grey, and earthy taupe form the base, a quiet canvas that calms the eyes. Upon this base, we layer the subtle vibrancy of nature-driven hues. Sage green, the warm brown of tree bark, the dusty yellow of late summer fields. These shades do not demand attention, they invite it. They allow the greens of foliage and the colours of blooms to stand out without competition. Textiles and accessories play their part with restraint. Cushions in pastel shades, outdoor rugs with understated patterns, planters in clay and ceramic all serve to soften and humanize the structure of the space. They offer a sense of comfort without drawing focus away from the garden itself. Here, the role of design is not to impose but to guide. In choosing focal points, we resist the temptation to multiply them. Instead, we commit to one or two gestures that anchor the space. Perhaps it is a koi pond, where lily pads float in serene clusters and flashes of orange and white move beneath the surface. Or a cascading mini waterfall, its voice a steady murmur that fills the air with calm. Or a venerable tree, older than the house itself, its branches stretching outward and upward, lit gently from below when night falls. These are not mere decorations, they are living or breathing presences, central to the identity of the garden. Sound plays an invisible yet vital role. The gentle splash of water, the whisper of leaves in a soft wind, the distant trill of a bird, these compose the garden's natural soundtrack. It is a score that soothes, that slows the pulse, that draws us inward into a space of mindfulness. The planting scheme is designed for longevity and ease. In a world that moves too fast, the garden must not demand constant labor to remain beautiful. Native species are chosen for their resilience, drought-tolerant varieties for their practicality. Ornamental grasses sway elegantly in the breeze. Ferns unfurl in shaded corners. Lavender releases its scent when brushed against. Seasonal flowering shrubs ensure that the space shifts with the months, always offering something new while requiring minimal intervention. These plants are not only practical, they are ecological allies. They support pollinators, they shelter songbirds, they knit the garden into the living web of its environment. A garden that attracts life is a garden that breathes. Evening transforms the garden in subtle, deliberate ways. Lighting is never harsh, it is layered and indirect, designed to illuminate without overwhelming. Soft LED path lights trace gentle lines along walkways, woven rattan lanterns pull warm light in intimate corners. Strings of delicate fairy lights, their glow in tones of amber and gold, weave quietly among the branches of a pergola or tree. The light does not announce itself, it reveals, it caresses, it allows the night to keep its softness. Within the garden, there must be a place of retreat, a spot where one can sit alone apart from the flow of movement. This might be a hanging egg chair suspended beside a trellis heavy with roses, the air faintly perfumed, or a cushioned bench tucked under the boughs of a shade tree, where the play of light and shadow changes with each passing hour. Or perhaps a hammock, strung between two trunks, swaying gently while the scent of blooming jasmine drifts through the air. Fragrance is an integral layer of the design, and it is cultivated with care. Herbs such as mint, chamomile, or lemon balm can be grown in pots or borders, ready to release their scent at the brush of a hand. These aromas do not overpower, they fold into the greater symphony of the garden, adding depth to the experience of being there. Art in the garden is never brash. It is present, but always in conversation with its surroundings. A small stone sculpture nestled among ferns. A handcrafted ceramic pot whose glaze echoes the colour of nearby blooms. A minimalist wall relief that catches the low light of evening. Each piece is chosen for harmony, not dominance. The garden's sophistication grows from this restraint. It is not a stage for objects, but a place where every element, natural and crafted, speaks in a shared voice. Through these choices, material, form, colour, light, scent, sound, we compose a garden that is more than an arrangement of plants and structures. It is a living architecture, one that invites touch, rewards stillness, and deepens with time. It is elegance, not as display, but as a way of being. To extend the dialogue between home and garden, we must think not only of the immediate space, but of how it unfolds, how the eye travels, how the body moves, and how moments are framed. A well-designed garden in 2025 is not static, it is a sequence of experiences. It offers a slow reveal, where each step brings a shift in perspective. Each turn uncovers something new, yet harmonious with what came before. We begin with circulation, the invisible thread that ties the whole together. Pathways are more than lines on the ground. They are invitations. A narrow, winding stone walk draws you deeper, encouraging curiosity. A broad, straight axis lined with ornamental grasses creates a sense of grandeur and intention. Changes in texture underfoot, stone to gravel, gravel to wood, become tactile signals, marking transitions between spaces. In the evening, subtle lighting guides the way, not with uniform brightness, but with points of gentle illumination that lead the visitor forward. Transition spaces are essential. Between the shaded refuge of a pergola and the open sunlit lawn, a transitional terrace of smooth timber might host potted citrus trees, their leaves catching the light. Between the house and the first steps of the garden, a covered veranda can act as a liminal space, shielded from weather but open to air, where one pauses, adjusts to the change and begins to breathe differently. These thresholds shape the psychological experience as much as the physical one. Vertical elements bring structure and rhythm to the garden. A series of wooden trellises can define a walkway without closing it in, their frames supporting climbing plants. Clematis in spring, jasmine in summer, the last roses in autumn. Sculptural trees pruned with care can serve as punctuation marks in open lawns. Even in small spaces, a single vertical accent, a tall ceramic urn, a slender cypress, draws the eye upward, balancing the horizontal expanse of the ground plane. Water, in its many forms, remains one of the most potent tools in the designer's palette. A reflecting pool offers stillness, a mirror to the sky and surrounding foliage. A small stream, its edges softened by moss and ferns, brings movement and sound. In tight spaces, even a modest wall fountain can transform the atmosphere, its trickle masking distant noise. The placement of water is critical. It should be where the visitor can linger near it, hear it clearly, and see the play of light on its surface. Planting design in this next layer moves beyond the foundational choices of Part 1 into the art of composition. Plants are arranged not only by their individual merits, but by the relationships they form. Textures are layered, the feathery fronds of ornamental grasses set against the broad, architectural leaves of hostas, the tight form of clipped boxwood contrasted with the airy sprays of flowering perennials. Seasonal sequencing is carefully considered. Bulbs to mark the first signs of spring, summer blooms to draw pollinators, autumn foliage to blaze briefly before winter's quiet forms take over. Colour strategy follows the principle of restraint, but with moments of intensity. In a predominantly neutral and green garden, a concentrated bed of deep purple salvia can serve as a focal flare. A climbing rose in blush pink over an archway can offer a moment of softness in an otherwise linear scene. These bursts are planned for impact, not scattered indiscriminately. Texture extends beyond planting. Surfaces, furniture, and accessories are selected for their tactile as well as visual qualities. A hand-woven throw left on an outdoor bench invites touch. The cool surface of a stone tabletop offers contrast on a warm evening. In 2025, there is a renewed respect for natural imperfections. The irregular weave of rattan, the weathered patina of copper, the way wood silvers under sun and rain. These imperfections are not flaws, they are records of time. Microclimates within the garden allow for a richer range of planting and use. A sheltered corner may become a haven for tender plants. An open, sunlit stretch might host a small orchard of dwarf fruit trees. Windbreaks, whether formed by hedges, trellises, or built screens, shape the experience as much as they protect the plants. Understanding these microclimates allows for design that feels naturally abundant, as though each plant has found its perfect place. Furniture arrangement is approached with the same care as in interior spaces. Proportions are considered in relation to their surroundings. Oversized lounge chairs might feel indulgent in a spacious lawn, but oppressive in a narrow terrace. Groupings are arranged to encourage interaction or contemplation as needed. A pair of chairs angled toward a view. A solitary bench framed by foliage for moments of privacy. Tables are placed within easy reach, not as afterthoughts, but as functional anchors for living outdoors. Lighting in this second layer of design takes on a narrative role. In addition to the path lights and ambient glows established earlier, accent lighting is introduced to sculpt the nighttime garden. An uplight at the base of a tree reveals the architecture of its branches. A submerged light in a pond makes koi appear to glide through liquid amber. Candlelight on a table invites intimacy, its flicker echoing the movement of leaves in the breeze. The aim is not to banish darkness, but to play with it, to let shadow and light converse. the sensory dimension continues to expand. Fragrance is layered, night-blooming jasmine near seating areas, rosemary and thyme along paths where they can be brushed by passing hands, lilac or viburnum for springtime bursts. Sound is curated, not only from water features but from the rustle of tall grasses, the buzz of bees, the occasional chime of suspended bamboo tubes in the wind. These are not accidents. They are composed as carefully as a painter chooses pigments. Art, too, becomes more integrated. Instead of isolated sculptures, the garden might feature a low wall with a built-in mosaic, a seating niche formed from reclaimed stone, or a gate whose metalwork patterns echo leaf shapes. These artistic gestures feel embedded in the fabric of the garden rather than placed upon it. Over time, they weather, their surfaces softening, their colours blending with the natural palette. Privacy, a modern necessity, is addressed with subtlety. Layered planting, tall shrubs, mid-height perennials and ground covers creates visual screening without the heaviness of a wall. In urban settings, lattices covered with climbing plants can obscure views without blocking breezes. In rural gardens, carefully placed groves can create intimate enclosures within larger open spaces. The result is a sense of refuge, not isolation. Finally, the narrative of the garden is considered. Each space has a purpose, each path a reason to be taken. There is a destination, whether it is a secluded bench, a small pavilion, or a framed view of the horizon. Movement through the garden is not random, it is an unfolding story. The visitor begins at the threshold, moves through spaces that rise and fall in intimacy and openness, encounters moments of beauty, both grand and understated, and arrives at a place of rest. The journey ends not with a final flourish, but with a quiet invitation to return, to walk it again, to discover what may have changed since the last time. This is the architecture of experience, measured, deliberate, but never rigid. It honors the seasons, the light, the wind, the way shadows shift in the afternoon. In 2025, the elegant garden is not a static display, but a living, breathing sequence of moments. It speaks softly, but with depth, and it leaves its mark, not through spectacle, but through the memory it plants in those who enter.